Well, thanks for joining us here on the programme. Talk us through these new measures which the government has described as world-leading. Why Rwanda?
It's what we would call offshoring processing of migrants, which has taken place from other countries, such as Australia and Israel, through similar mechanisms, whereby you effectively outsource the processing of migrants, which leads to the bypassing of sort of domestic laws in the country that they would arrive in. As you say, it's very unclear at the moment to the extent to which it will actually be effective. We've seen from Australia in the way that they've introduced the system in the last 5 years, that actually it's been considerably more expensive than it had been initially planned. Israel signed its own agreement with Rwanda in 2013, and independent investigations have actually shown that the system leads to increased smuggling and increased opportunities for that within Rwanda itself. So really, we know that the only way that you can really tackle legal migration is actually to produce real viable routes to their country of destination, and that seems to be something that the UK government is simply unwilling to provide at this stage. It seems to sort of be moving forward with its increasing move towards the militarisation of this issue. It's suggested they use the British Armed Forces to deal with migration. So that's really the issue that we're looking at.
Well, the government has never made any sort of beef about its claims that it wants to, shore up its defences as well as take control or take back control in the government's own vernacular of its borders. It also says this measure will sort of strengthen the economy. So how much is this measure expected to save?
Well, it's sort of unclear and ambiguous at the moment to which the costs of the £5 million a day that the government currently spends for keeping asylum seekers in hotels in the UK against the few £100 million that it expects to spend on this scheme. But I think, ultimately it's really important to look at this in context and of sort of wider migration issues. Last year, 27,000 migrants came across the English Channel on boats, but actually, the government in the same year offered 5 million residents of Hong Kong, automatic and full residency rights within the UK. So I think, the government, based on its voter base, tries to really disproportionately draw attention to the issue of migrants, when in fact it really is not a major cause for concern in terms of the economy. And actually all analysis shows that actually migrants, whether they come here legally or illegally, actually are net contributors to the economy when they're actually allowed to participate in the economy.